right, let's rock and roll. Hey, great to be with you guys. So, it's interesting as you start observing what's going on within the market, everything that's happening. You see a lot of good things that are happening, no question about it. You see a lot of weird things that are happening, no question about it. And you see some real strange things that you scratch your head and you sit there and you wonder, man, why and how is it that in today's market, you have such a disparity between agents that are producing at incredibly high levels, and you have agents that are almost producing at negative or no levels. And so I want you to think about just the fact of how you're approaching your business today. I want you to think about how you're creating what I call a predictable and duplicatable business. How are you creating a business that can repeat itself? How are you creating a business that no matter what's going on, you know there's going to be consistency? In the book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki talks about the difference between those who desire freedom versus those who desire security. And his observation is that those who desire security are certainly fixed to a certain amount of income. Those who desire freedom are the ones who are willing to pay any price, work through any battle, go through any uncomfortable part of this business. And sometimes we sit back and we'll look at this business and we'll sit and say, this really is an easy business, especially when business is happening. But then there's those moments where a business is very, very difficult and it can be very, very trying. Or even just the factors of the fear that happens when the business begins to maybe not be as productive, not be as swift, not be as quick, and all this pent up demand. And depending on where you are, whether you're Utah, California, or any other state, the fact of the matter is you're going to have highs and lows in this business. So again, I go back to my question. Have you created or are you creating a business that is predictable, one that you can duplicate, one that you can see happen over and over again because of the activities? See, the issue is never the fact as to whether an advertisement will work. There's never an issue as to whether or not it makes sense to maybe at one point or another different offices, may sit a floor time. There's no issue in regards to whether or not you just simply wait for business. But the reality is that this is the key. You can have no consistency in your business on a regular basis if you are not proactive in going out and getting business. And I've often said for years that there are only 3 ways to get this business. Number 1, you can sit and you can wait for it, right? Open houses are waiting for business. Floor time is waiting for business. Throwing at ads without calling, throwing let's just say postcards to your sphere of influence without a call, again, is just simply waiting for business. Now, here's the argument. Can you do business doing it that way? Yes, you can. But can you predict the outcome on a consistent basis? And the answer is you cannot. Because you don't know who's going to walk through the door. You don't know who's going to call you. You don't know whether they will or won't. You don't know that. And so the key isn't the fact, the argument isn't can you do business that way? The argument is, can you do a predictable, a consistent, a business that you can duplicate type of business? And if you can't do that, then the thing is that when we will move in from saying, man, I love the freedom of real estate, but the problem is that we want to go to a place of security with a consistent check, a consistent income, because we want to have that predictability. And so then we have spouses or loved ones that maybe as an agent you are around and they say, man, can't you just get a regular job? And the reason they want a regular job is because they too want consistency with the income that you earn. Well, the only way that I have seen that you can do that, yes, you can wait for business to happen. But the second pathway is you can go buy the business. Now, can you earn money buying business? You betcha. Can you buy large, massive amounts of advertising? Can you do pay-per-click? Can you do internet advertising? And will it work? And again, it's kind of the combination of I'll go buy business and I'll kind of wait for business. And you see a lot of agents doing that if they advertise enough, eventually people will call them. The problem with that, again, is that it's not predictable. You don't know the outcome. Now, if you haven't figured out with what I'm sharing with you right now, is that each one of these 2 sources of ways in which to approach your business, either waiting for it or going out and buying it, require very little rejection. And the problem is that most of us have shaped our business based on the level of rejection and the fear that we can take on. But if you will take it upon yourself, if you want to truly create a predictable business, a business that you can duplicate, a business that is consistent, a business that you can count on, then the third component is going to be most important. And that is that you go out and you get the business. If your choices are to wait for business to come in, number two, it is to go out and buy business, either leads or leads from different aggregators, pay-per-click, mass amounts of advertising, mailings. That's a way you can do the business. But if you really want to have predictability, you want to be able to count on every day, just as normal as or week or month as any other job that you would have, you have to go out and get the business. And the problem in this business is that we get agents, right? They get a license, they get in this business, and for some reason they forget the simplicity of this business and they forget the job that's required in this business. So look, when you are in this business, you are a salesperson, and you should be proud of that. You shouldn't avoid that. Sales is one of the most lucrative businesses and careers, if you would say, in the world. Right? You're always selling, right? You are selling your parents on the toy that you should have. You are selling your dates on what restaurant they should go to. You sold your spouse, if you're married, on why they should marry you. You've been selling your whole life. And for some reason, when we get into the sales industry of real estate, somehow we don't believe that it's, honorable, good, something to be proud of, something exciting. And the challenge is that with sales, what often occurs is that we forget the importance of what sales is. See, sales is about bringing value to another human being. If you believe that your sale is about pulling something over on someone, if your sale is about trying to manipulate someone, if your sale is about being, slimy and greasy and snake oily, the reality is that you're right. It's not a great profession if that's how you're treating it. So years ago in my early 20s, I can remember when I made that shift. And this was the question that I asked. This is the question that reshaped my whole platform, my whole story, my whole mindset in regards to salesmanship. And it was this simple question. Here you go. Write it down if you're taking notes. How can I help you? It's that simple. I realized that if I wanted to be a great salesperson, I needed to bring tremendous value to the people that I had the opportunity to serve. And if that was the case, if it was all about the service that I rendered, the value that I gave, the simple question of this, how can I help you, became paramount. It became the real ingredient to my success. And what I found is that even whether I'm speaking in front of groups of 5,000 or groups of 10, or a one-on-one coaching, or in a Zoom call just like this today, or a listing presentation, or a buyer presentation, whatever the situation is, if I want to take all the pressure off of me, I simply have to ask that one question: how can I help you? And my observation is that if I can be of assistance, be of service, be of my leadership in the right place or in the right way, that I can bring that value, then I can sell. And I can sell with passion. I can sell proudly. I can sell with excitement. I can sell because it is one of the most greatest gifts that I can give to them, to help them, to assist them. Now, the question I want to pose to you: how do you become someone of tremendous value? How do you become even, let's take it a step further, invaluable? How do you become invaluable to the marketplace? How do you become invaluable? Like they can't even afford not to have you around. How do you become so invaluable? Well, here's the reality check, gang. And it is simply this: you have to and you must take people to the next level. The next level. The next level in regards to their home ownership. If you're a coach, the next level in their business. If you're a manager listening to this, the next level in their business. If you're in lending, the next level for a borrower to get their next home, the next best loan. It's getting people to the next level. So those who become invaluable to people are the people who have done this. They have helped them in some fashion, in some way, and they have If they are invaluable to the person, they've gone to the next level. And the thing is that's when they pay the commissions that you want to charge. They pay the commissions because they are worth it. They pay the commissions you want to charge because they see the value in what it is that you bring. So don't underestimate the magnitude of what I'm talking about, right? If we go through this business and we work through this business in regards to, number one, remembering that, you know what, you can get a few bonus points in regards to waiting for business, and a few deals can come to you. Yes, you can go buy business, but man, if you will go out and get the business, and in the process of getting that business and the process of being a great salesperson, recognizing that you have to elevate the value that you're bringing and giving and offering to another human being, you will become invaluable. You will earn the money you want to earn, and it will be an extraordinary business. And you want consistency, you want predictability, you come with the right mindset, the right emotion, and you come to the business where you're not just waiting and buying, but going out and getting it, you will make a fortune. And that will be the play, that will be the outcome of your business. Now, let's just talk about this for a moment. What are the ways in which you can go out and get business? See, it's a lot easier to wait. It's a lot easier to go buy it. But what are the ways today that you could go get the business? Now, look, can you do an advertisement, in so many words, go out and buy some business, but then you follow it up with a phone call? The answer is, of course you can. Could you do two things, buy it and go out and get it? Of course you can. Will it work? Of course it can. But my observation again is that no matter what the outcome is in this business, if you want predictability, you want duplication, you want consistency, you want to be able to count on the business coming in every single month, and whether it's a great market because it's raging white hot right now, or whether it's not a great market, how do you create that? Well, it's the one thing that no one ever wants to talk about. They want to avoid it. And all salespeople, it seems, who get their real estate license somehow forget that this is the priority of the business. Now, listen to me closely. You cannot create a predictable business consistently, a consistent, predictable business, if you do not talk to people. You have to consistently talk to people. So I remember years ago when I was visiting with one of my dear friends, Aaron Richardson. Many of you know him. He's in the Union Park office. We've known each other for over 20 years. Aaron and I have worked around each other for more than 20 years. We both used to work for the company that I didn't own at the time. We have known each other a long time. And I can remember a conversation with Aaron many years ago. And he jumped up on the dry erase board, and this is what he did. And he had another agent or two with him in the room. And as he got up there on the dry erase board, he did this. He said, I make this many contacts a day. And I don't remember the exact number, but it was a big number, because there was a day where he was making, and I can't speak to this moment what he's doing, but I can tell you there was a day where he was making a tremendous amount of contacts. And it was 50, 75, even probably at some points, it was even 100 contacts a day. But let's just say it was 50, because it was a big number. And he put up on the board 50 contacts. And then what he did is he said, let me share with you what the average real estate agent is doing. They're making 5, maybe 10 contacts a day. Let's even say it's 10. 10. Well, let's just assume that's what you're doing right now. For every day that he worked and he made 50 contacts, talking to 50 people who he offered the opportunity to either buy or help them sell a piece of property 50 times a day. Well, the average agent was doing 10. So that means that for every single day he worked, it was the equivalent of that other agent working 5 days. Well, was it any question why Aaron makes $500,000 to $750,000 a year? Was it guesswork? That was way back in the day. Was it an accident that he did that? No, because it was predictable. It was consistent. It was precise. It was something he could count on. So look, you can get mad at me. You can get frustrated with the business. You can say, well, he doesn't understand, or he doesn't understand my situation. I may understand all of it. But what I also understand, look, as I've said for years also, I don't understand why a kamikaze pilot, right, wears a helmet. I don't understand why the University of Utah plays BYU. I'll never understand that. Or why UCLA plays USC. Go Bruins, right? All right, go Utes. But my point is I may not understand why You know, Tarzan, I've said this, Tarzan had no chest hair. He's always perfectly groomed in the middle of the jungle. There's lots of things I don't understand. But I understand real estate, and I understand that if you don't make phone calls and knock doors and talk to people consistently, you cannot have a predictable business. So you can wait, you can show up, you can email, you can advertise, you can pay for leads, you can just simply wait. And I can promise you, you will never have a business that you sit back and go, I can predict it, I can count on it, I can duplicate it, it is consistent, I can take it to the bank because I know business is going to happen. And gang, you have a stewardship and responsibility for people who love you, care for you, and are championing your cause for what you do every day, and hoping that, in so many words, you bring home the bacon, you bring home the money. They're assuming that when you go to the office, they're assuming that when you go to work, that you're making money. Do not be that agent way back in the day. Now think about what I said first. Actually, I don't want to get too far off this. For every day you only work or you only call 5 or 10 people, there's another agent out there doing 50 contacts a day. 50, which means that for every day he works, it's as if you work 5, if you're making 5 or 10 contacts a day. And you say, well, what's wrong with that? It's wrong if it's not getting you the results that you want. It's wrong if it's not creating predictability. It's wrong if there's not a predictable outcome. It's wrong. So don't kid yourself in thinking that whether the business is hot or not so hot, that you have the opportunity to be able to sit back, wait, and hope that business happens. Hope is not a strategy for this business. Hoping that the home sells is, in my words, ridiculous. Why? Because you know why it sells and why it doesn't, because of the price. You know why you set appointments or you don't, because you make the contacts. It's not, I hope to make contacts, I hope to set appointments. That is not a strategy. It's hopeful thinking, it's wishful thinking, but it is not a strategy that is consistent, that you can count on, and that can bless your life every single day because of your consistency and your discipline and your ability to make contacts in this business. Do not underestimate the magnitude of making contacts. This is a people business. This is a contact sport. Contact sport. You have to talk to people. Now, some of you have been around me a long time. We got nearly, 50 people on this call? You've heard this before, many of you, right? Many of you understand that you're supposed to make contacts. Here's the question, are you? Right? Are you making enough contacts today? Are you wondering why business isn't happening? Are you hoping that it works out? If you continue to wait for business or think that you can just go buy it, you are mistaken. Now look, let's go to the second part of this. First, we get our mindset right in regards to what it really means about to work in this business. This mindset is I'm going to create predictability and I'm going to make contacts. Now look, once you make the contacts, track your numbers, know the contacts you're making, the number of appointments that you're setting or not setting, and you begin to figure out what you need to do next, which number 2 on this list, if mindset is number 1, number 2 is the skill sets that are necessary to win the game. Look, I wrote down here, right? You got 3 things in regards to your skill sets. Number 1 is the words that you say. Number 2 is the timing in which you say those things. But I really believe the third thing is often the most important and forgotten, and it is the tone in which you say things, right? So it's the simple things. I could say, if I had a big group in front of me, I could say, I love you versus I love you, or it could be I love you, or I love you, and tonality changes everything. It's the reason why we have emojis in texting, because we want to shape the emotion, right? It could be I hate you versus ooh, I hate you, right? You may say, whoa, that was a little over the top, because that's the fact. Tone is everything in this business. So remember, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So if you haven't figured out what to say, when to say it, and how to say it, you're going to not succeed. So get serious about the fact that if you don't want a consistent business, then don't worry about these things. But if you want a consistent business, you better be worried about how you're shaping your mindset, what you're reading, studying, listening to, you're spending your time with, and get serious about elevating the skill sets. Stop thinking that it's market driven. So many years ago, 26 years ago, I, on a Saturday morning, stood on my sidewalk and I was walking my little dog. His name was Connor, this white little American Eskimo. And I was walking him, and a gentleman across the street, a well-intended friend, a guy in my local church, stops me. And he says these words to me. We talk for a moment, and then he says these words. George, I really think that you could do so much more with your life. What are you going to do when the real estate market changes? And this is crazy though. When rates were 9, 9.25, 8.5, but I believe they were 9, 9.25 at the time. And he goes, what happens when the rates go up? What happens if the market flattens? What happens if no one's buying or selling real estate? What are you gonna do? You need to do something different than selling real estate. Now, as an impressionable young 20-year-old, 22 years old at the time, might I add, I was impressed by his statement. I thought he was a big shot. He had his own business. He was making money. He was well-intended on giving me some advice. And man, it took me a long time to figure out one thing, how absolutely wrong he was. Not only was he wrong, but I watched his own business go bankrupt, and I realized this is a guy who waited for business to happen and probably was trying to go out and buy business to make it happen. What I realized, that no matter what the market's doing, business will happen. So if you think that because we're in a great market, that it'll only last for a little while, and then what are you gonna do? Rid yourself of that anxiety. Tell yourself a much better story. And the reason I would share with you to ask yourself such a better story is because you can ask yourself this question. How will I do business in a bad market? How will I do business in an okay market? How today are you doing business in an extraordinary market? Really, are you prospecting enough? Are you really talking to enough people? Are you still in the way in which this market is, which is white hot, just getting by, just doing a few deals, just talking to just a few people? How much effort, how much energy, how much are you putting forth to win the game of real estate? You have the capacity to make more than some of the most educated human beings on earth. From the doctors, the lawyers, the attorneys, to the CPAs, to you name it, you could win the game of real estate if you chose to talk to enough people. That is the key to this business. And if you forget that, then the problem is you get back into the path of waiting for business, hoping for business, buying your business. And that is not a strategy for this business. Look, I have a few rules. These are pretty simple, and I love them. Just write these down. Pay attention to them. Here's rule number one. The number of contacts I make in a day, on average, the number of contacts I make in a day, on average, will be the number of deals that I do in a year. Now think about that. Ask yourself a question. Number of deals you're doing this year, is it in relationship to the number of transactions or number of contacts that you make in a given day? You may say, well, wait, is that a perfect science? No, it's not. Hello, it's not a perfect science. We already know that. But what I do know that on average, that most agents do the number of transactions annually based on the number of people that they talk to on a given day. Pretty simple. You want to do 50 deals? Talk to 50 people. When there was a day when I was doing 100 deals a year, the reality is I was making 100 contacts a day. That's the key. Contacts, talking, communicating, and meeting with people. Second thing, you want to make at least $250,000 or more in this business. You want to add $250,000 of income to your business that you already have. Then I'm going to tell you that you need to be prospecting a minimum of 15 hours a week. 15 hours a week equals a minimum income of $250,000. And you can't just do this one time. You can't just do this a second time. You can't just do it for a week and then think it didn't work. No, 90 days, 3 months, 15 hours a week, see what happens. Prove to me that I'm wrong. I'll prove to you that I'm right. No matter how good your skill sets are, I can tell you that they will get extraordinarily better, and you will win the game of real estate if you're willing to make the contacts. Now, look, a lot of people will say, well, that's not how I want to do the business. I see Bobby or Sally, whoever they are, doing business where they're just waiting for it. And it's happening. In most cases, those are agents who still paid the price over the last 20 or 30 years. Agents who have lots of business coming to them is because they've paid the price in the years in the past. If you're a newer licensee, stop paying attention to that. It's not reality, because you must talk to people. If you're an agent somewhere into the 3 to 5 years of your career, you still need to talk to people. You cannot get away from this idea. If you think that it's okay for you not to communicate consistently with people, you realize that your business is going to go down the tube, and it is not going to succeed, and it is not going to be predictable, and is not something that you can count on. And that, my observation, is not okay. So in closing, I want you to take a stand for yourself. Ask yourself, how much prospecting am I going to do today? How much prospecting will I do this week? You've got less than 100 work days left this year. How much work will you do in regards to prospecting by the end of the year? When you don't feel like prospecting, the best thing I could tell you, and the best message I gave to myself, the way I rewrote the story, was simply this: it does not matter how I feel, I do my job anyway. It doesn't matter how I feel, I do my job anyway. I recognize there's going to be days you don't feel like prospecting. I know there's going to be days that you don't feel like doing it. You know that. So look, don't worry about it. Stop worrying about that you have to feel good about something. As I said in closing, this is my last little message to you. Most people in business and in life will focus on all of the pain and the agony of the moment. Those who go into the gym or go work out are typically focusing in on the pain of the moment. Therefore, maybe they don't do their cardio. They focus on the pain of lifting the weight. They focus on the burn inside their legs, the burn inside their chest, the burn inside their arms. They focus on all the pain of the moment, the pain of the activity, the pain of what's going on. Well, I want you to relate that to real estate. How do you focus? Do you focus on the pain? Do you focus on the agony? Do you focus on the amount of times you're rejected? Do you focus on all the no's? Do you focus on all the negativity? Do you focus on all of the agony it takes and the pain that it takes to prospect, to knock doors, to talk to people, to be rejected? See, if that's your focus, the problem with that focus is it will not get you what you want. See, those who have figured this out in life are those the ones who seem to have had the most success in life. They don't focus on the pain of the moment. They focus on what it will be in the future. They don't focus on all the rejection of the moment. They focus on how much money they will have earned by doing their job, by talking to people. They don't focus on how much pain it causes them to have to talk to 50 people a day. They focus on how good it will feel to have sold this many homes, to have helped this many people, to live their dreams, to travel, to help, to bless lives, to give money away, to do things. I want you to have more experiences where you are living a life in the shape of your dreams and not in the shape of your fear. And most people live their life not based on their dreams, not based on their inspiration, based on the fear of their lives. And prospecting can often become fearful. But if you will focus on the future, focus on the dreams, focus on what's possible for you, then you will live in a life that you truly feel like it. Literally feel like living. Feel the goodness of the dreams and the beauty of your life. That's what will happen. Guys, remember what I said there. Are you living in the shape of your dreams, or are you living in the shape of your fear? It's time to wake up. It's time to get aware. It's time to be conscious. It's time to recognize that you can live your dreams. But in this business, you're not going to live your dreams waiting for business. And you're not going to live your dreams just going out and buying it. If you don't back up any advertisement, if you don't back up any just waiting for business with making phone calls, you are going to fail miserably in this business. And you will become dictated by the business as to whether it's hot and amazing right now or whether it's not so good. So the question I've always asked, and we got to wrap up here, is, are you better or is just the market better? Think about that for a moment. Are you better or is just the market better? See, at the end of the day, people will always get divorced. People will always die. People will always lose their homes. People will always get job transfers. People will always get job promotions. And people will always there will always be first-time home buyers. There will be second-time home buyers. There will be baby boomers who will want to reduce the size of their homes and their cost of living. There will always be opportunity in real estate. Always. And even when it was at its worst back in the 2009s and 10s and 11s, the government paid you to buy a home if you hadn't bought a home in the last 3 years or not. Crazy to consider the fact of how crazy it is that real estate is always bought and sold. But if you don't go out and get the business, then the conversation like I had, like, what if rates go up? What are you going to do? Oh gosh, what if the market turns? What are you going to do? What I've realized over this many years is, you know what I'm going to do? The same thing I'm doing in good markets. I'm going to talk to people, and I'm going to take a new standard for myself. So today, again, how many contacts will you make? How many contacts will you make this week? How many appointments will you set? It's time to step up and to create a predictable business. It's time to set up and bring consistency to your life, to your family, and to your dreams, to live them. And if you want to live them, it's about consistency. Remember, discipline equals freedom. Consistency is your greatest tool. You want to live large? Go make contacts. You want to live big? Go talk to people. That's the key to this business. It will never change. Fundamentally, in this business, the fundamentals have never changed. It is the fundamental of this business. All right, I'm out of time. We got to rock and roll. Man, go make contacts. All right, gang? Do not settle in your life. Do not sit back and say, I'm just going to wait. You got this. Go make contacts. Go talk to your manager. If you don't know how to get those phone numbers, get to your manager and find out how. From the cold directory, they're for sale letters, expired, just listed, just sold, door knocking. Talk to people and see what can happen, and live a life that's consistent, live a life that is free, live your dreams, not in the shape of your fear, but live your dreams. All right, here we go. Let's rock and roll. Let's do some affirmations. Thanks, guys, for being with me. Excited for a beautiful